The first scripture reading is from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. Jesus called his first disciples to him as he moved throughout Galilee, teaching and healing. When he saw that great crowds were following him, Jesus went up the mountain with his disciples and began to teach them with his Sermon on the Mount, which begins with the Beatitudes, the blessings. Hear now the reading. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you."
Instead of a sermon tonight, I'm going to read one of the devotions that is part of the book Good Enough by Kate Bowler and Jessica Ritchie. This is the book that is the inspiration for our Good Enough worship series that we've been doing during the season of Lent. This is the blessing titled, or the devotion titled, #blessed. We don't live in a culture of blessing. We live in a culture of #blessed. Partially nude bikini shot, #blessed. Christmas card, professional photo shoot where everyone is looking directly at the camera, wearing matching chambray tops, #blessed. As Christians, we cross-stitch our blessings on pillows, hand-letter them in whimsical fonts, and tattoo them on our bodies, forgetting perhaps that Jesus turned the idea of what makes us blessed upside down. His blessings should leave some people wide-eyed and others with tears of relief streaming down their cheeks. Jesus says, "Blessed are you when you are at the end of your rope, when you are exhausted and despairing, when tears are your food morning and night, when your stomach grumbles and your mouth is dry. Blessed are you who forgives the person who never said sorry and who definitely didn't deserve your forgiveness. You who are ridiculed and humiliated, left out and left behind, the timid and the soft-spoken, the one who works toward peace instead of the easy road of vengeance." So much of how we interpret these blessings depends on where we're sitting when we hear them. Maybe we are like the respected and applauded religious leaders in Jesus's time. We've elbowed our way to the front row, or perhaps we were ushered in by privilege and birthright. We say and do the right things. Our righteousness is on full display on Instagram and Facebook. Our chest puffs with pride at how well life has worked out, our beautiful family, our comfortable bank account, our healthy body. These Beatitudes should make us uncomfortable because God is celebrating who we try so hard not to be: dependent, needy, desperate. These blessings will sound quite different if you're the one at the back of the crowd, the one who barely feels like you belong in the first place, the one who's scared someone will find out that you don't have it all together. Jesus often taught by taking something conceptual and comparing it to something concrete. For example, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. That's Matthew 13, verse 44. To his hearers who grew up in farms and fields, this would be tactile, not just intellectual. It's a rhetorical device that doesn't need detailed notes or a tape recorder. You'd remember. In these blessings, it's like Jesus is pulling examples from the very people who are listening in. Blessed are you, Jamie, even when you mourn the person you lost. Blessed are you, Sarah, though you are struggling to find hope. Blessed are you, John, when there isn't enough food to feed your family. He was looking into the eyes of those who felt like the misfits. And then he used the everyday experiences of weeping, hungering, thirsting, suffering as a badge of belonging. The left out will be welcomed with a warm embrace. The forgotten will not just be remembered, but honored. The ones who don't have it all together are exactly who God is inviting into the kingdom. In fact, the whole kingdom belongs to the ones on the edges. This is the upside down kingdom, directly available to those of us who don't have it all together. Sometimes the only thing that's possible is to bless life's every present moment, even and especially the hard ones. Blessings in those moments fall like summer rain over the driest times and places in our lives. And though a blessing seems counterintuitive in moments of grief and sorrow, that's when you need to be reminded of the presence of God most, the God whose kingdom is available to all of us. The world looks a bit strange from here, upside down. But maybe it's how it's supposed to be. Our feet rooted in heaven. As you take a moment for reflection, think about what blessing you most need tonight, and who in your life most needs your blessing. Amen.
Blessed am I when I lose sleep over what troubles me, when my worries keep me watching the clock tick by, when I have no energy to do anything but fret. The kingdom of God is here and now.
Blessed am I when I am drowning in grief, when wave after wave after wave crashes over me. When I start to feel okay, then something reminds me of what I've lost, and I'm pulled under once again. God promises to comfort me.
Blessed am I when I feel silenced and afraid to speak up, when I am forgotten and left out, when I feel small and feel as though my work, my presence, my life doesn't matter. The whole world is mine.
Blessed am I when I'm starving for justice, when the world around me seems so unfair that I could scream, but no one seems to be listening. No one seems to care. May justice flow like a river.
Blessed am I when someone hurts me, when I feel offended, and I don't return insult with insult. Instead, I forgive, recognizing the number of times I've needed to be forgiven.
Blessed am I when I strip away all the extra, when I see the world as it really is, broken, tender, fragile, beautiful. These are the same eyes that see God in everything too.
Blessed am I when I take the hard road, the winding one that doesn't opt for the shortcut of rage or resentment or unkind words, that doesn't pave over the trite niceties, but walks toward peacemaking. For I am God's kid.
Blessed am I when I face hardships of all sorts, insults, hurt feelings, lies, vindictive neighbors. Why is loving your actual neighbor so hard, God? Blessed am I when I work to usher in God's kingdom of love and compassion and justice and forgiveness and peace, even when it's hard.
Blessed are we, the imperfect, and don't have it all together, God's beloved. This second reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 13, verses 1 through 17, and verses 31 through 35, is different from the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, in that the meal happens just before Passover and emphasizes the importance of the washing of the feet rather than the communion of the meal, and ends with a re-expressed way of showing Jesus' love for his disciples. Hear now the reading. Now, before the festival of the Passover, Jesus knew that his hour had come to depart from this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The devil had already put it into the heart of Judas, son of Simon Iscariot, to betray him. And during supper, Jesus, knowing that the Father had given all things into his hands, and that he had come from God and was going to God, got up from the table, took off his outer robe, tied a towel around himself. Then he poured water into a basin and began to wash the disciples' feet and to wipe them with the towel that was tied around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus answered, "You do not know now what I am doing, but later you will understand." Peter said to him, "You will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no share with me." Simon Peter said to him, "Lord, not my feet, but also my hands and my head." Jesus said to him, "One who has bathed does not need to wash except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, though not all of you." For he knew who was to betray him. And for this reason, he said, "Not all of you are clean." After he had washed their feet, had put on his robe, and had returned to the table, he said to them, "Do you know what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for that is what I am. So if I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have set you an example that you also should do as I have done to you. Very truly, I tell you, servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. If you know these things, you are blessed if you do them. When he, Judas, had gone out, Jesus said, "Now the Son of Man has been glorified, and God has been glorified in him. If God has been glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and will glorify him at once. Little children, I am with you only a little longer. You will look for me, and as I said to the Jews, so now I say to you, where I am going, you cannot come. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another."
We love blessing people we find easy to love. Jesus knew that night that there were people in the room with him who would deny him and betray him, and he washed their feet anyway. Madeleine L'Engle wrote this in her work, A Stone for a Pillow. We must bless without wanting to manipulate, without insisting that everything be straightened out right now, without insisting that our own truth be known. This means simply turning whoever it is we need to bless over to God, knowing that God's powerful love will do what our own feeble love or lack of it won't. I have suggested that it is a good practice to believe 6 impossible things every morning before breakfast, like the White Queen in Through the Looking Glass. It is also salutary to bless 6 people I don't much like every morning before breakfast. So now it's our turn. If you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your eyes, to take a deep breath, to let it out, and to keep breathing. And here in this time of meditation, to call to mind 6 people who rub you the wrong way, who have made your life less than easy, who you just struggle to like at all. Take your time. Call to mind 6 people. Do you see them? Now imagine yourself across a water basin from them. Imagine washing their feet or their hands, one at a time. Imagine blessing them, one at a time, especially if you don't want to. Take some time now to visualize yourself doing this. I invite you to gently open your eyes if they have been closed. This work is not easy. And it's okay if you couldn't bring yourself to this at this moment to wash their feet and to offer them a blessing. Trying to is a good enough step for tonight. And we can help each other take our next good enough steps by offering each other one of the oldest blessings in the book, keeping in mind those we love and those we struggle to love. Let's offer this blessing together. May God bless you and keep you. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God look upon you with kindness and give you peace.